When Khabib Nurmagomedov was asked whether or not he had a plan B in a fight against Conor McGregor, just in case he started losing, he said, "Of course I didn't, because my plan was to win, and his plan was to start winning. So I didn't have a plan in that case, because that's not even an option for me." And in this video, we're going to talk about this particular comment, and we're going to talk about what holding a frame means and how Khabib is able to hold a frame, dominant frame, and we're going to talk about what holding a frame overall can do in your life, whether you're a business person or whether you're an athlete, whatever you do, and how this very, very, very important psychological concept can literally change your life. In fact, if you hold a frame, your life will never be the same, or you will change your life forever, because it's just so important. I cannot stress it enough. But let's dive right into this topic and talk about what is a frame. Okay, so frame is basically your interpretation of your reality. You can have one frame, frame a certain situation or an event in one way, or you can reframe it afterwards. And psychologists often during the therapy are trying to reframe certain events and certain situations, right? You can frame whatever has happened to you in the past, what is happening right now, or what is going to happen in the future, or your idea of what's going to happen in the future, right? Anything and everything can be framed or reframed. And basically, what is the reality? And I've talked about it in one of my in one of the comment sections, and someone commented about it, and I really dove into what I think about framing and what reality is. Basically, our reality is what we think or what we imagine. Obviously, there are facts, right? But facts are not nearly as important as much as how you frame what is happening, right? But look, like, there are so many people. There are like 7 billion people, I believe. I don't know how many people there are out there, but the last time I was looked up, it was like 7 billion people. So there are 7 billion frames, right? Because everyone has their own eyes, own interpretation, own culture, their own cultural background, right? But how do we agree on stuff? And there is such thing as having a dominant frame. People try to have a dominant frame basically in a lot of places, especially like dating world. One of the partners most probably has a dominant frame. Politics, you can see frames clashing, or I don't know what's the right word to use in debates, is basically frame against the frame. Or in a sports world, right? Everyone comes out on the field or in octagon, basically having their frame of what's gonna happen, right? Their interpretation of what they think, what chances they have in this particular fight. And that's what Khabib Nurmagomedov was talking about. Like, he said that, what are you even talking about? My frame is that I'm gonna win, right? My frame is that this and that is gonna happen. My frame is that I am, I don't know, the strongest dude on the planet. Whatever it is, right? It's your interpretation. What happens when you do not have a frame, right? What happens is that basically anyone and everyone around you is able to affect your reality. There are so many people, and I was a victim to that for a very long time until I realized this concept and how important it is. You're gonna meet a girlfriend, a girl that you're really gonna like, and she's gonna break your frame like that. You're gonna meet just someone important, or your friend, and he's gonna tell you, "Oh, do you really think you can do that?" And he is gonna break your frame like that. Just anyone can really intervene into when you don't have a frame, anyone can intervene into whatever you're trying to do, and basically either destroy you or really lift you up. And there are so many cases when, especially when now famous people were children and they were told that they have a chance, have a shot at becoming something big, and they really, really, really believed it, and they stuck with this one comment or maybe one suggestion, and they really became very, very famous people. For example, for Sharapova, I believe Navratilova told Sharapova that she has a shot at becoming world #1 or whatever, and she did become #1. That's after that her father, Sharapova's father, took her to the United States of America, and they really tried this thing really hard. But if you continue living like that, of course, when you're like a child and someone who's in the field telling you something, like giving their opinion, that's like okay, right? Like, because you do want to hear like opinion of people who are in the field and they tell you something, right? But not always necessarily. To be honest, I believe that the ideal reality and the ideal world, the ideal state of mind is when you have a frame and no one can affect you, your opinion about anything, about your ability to achieve something, about what's gonna happen, about basically no one affect your interpretation of reality. No one can gaslight you. That's another psychological word, and a lot of people, you can't even imagine how many people are gaslighting each other, and especially in the sports world, because there are so you probably, if you are an athlete, you can imagine how locker room is such a huge part of the game, because there are always, if it's men's locker room, guys are always talking about who they think is gonna win and who's the cool guy and who's not the cool guy, what's the cool thing to do, what's not the cool thing to do. And if you're growing up without this frame, these guys are gonna mess with you. These guys are gonna mess with your psychology. Or girls, if you're a female athlete, right? Because people are not idiots, especially when you're younger. I don't even know why I started this conversation about teenager. I guess I started to remembering things from my childhood, not childhood, but teenage years, and how naive I was. And there are always going to be people that are older, that are more knowledgeable, that are more experienced, that are really like more sneaky and smarter in a way, and that are gonna try to, who are gonna see you as their, I guess, opponent, or maybe like you see you as a danger and try to ingrain certain ideas into you, certain doubts into you, just because they see that you are a threat to their success or whatever. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, frame. You have to have this certain idea, and you really have to rely solely on yourself and on your own opinion. What are some things that you can do to really develop that dominant frame? Dominant frame is the frame that everyone believes in, kind of. And let's take one example, Elon Musk, right? For 10 years, and when I realized how many rejections he received, how many failures Elon Musk has received, I invested so much money into Tesla stock, and guess what? I didn't. That is the most successful investment I've had, because Elon Musk. I do not recommend that you invest in Tesla right now because the price is kind of high. But anyway, Elon Musk had so many rejections, and he was able to rely on solely on his own opinion. And he didn't need other people telling him how good of a boy he is, right? Or how good of a job he was doing. He spent 10 years on something, but he really stuck with his frame. And his frame was that I'm gonna able to take this racket, a racket or whatever into the space, right? And that was his frame for more than 10 years. And sometimes, especially if the goal is that big of a goal, and if something is that important to you, you are gonna have to hold this frame for 10 years. And there were so many people that were laughing at Tesla stock. Where are they now, right? They were laughing at his just idea with this SpaceX company, and he, despite all of that, was able to really hold on to his frame for as long as he could. And look, everyone bought into it, right? Like everyone right now, every single boy, I feel like, not every single boy probably, but every single guy who's like not an athlete, I guess, wants to be like Elon Musk, right? Most guys, let's put it that way, because but guess what, like 10 years ago he was a joke to so many people, and so many people were making fun of him on national television. And it seemed like what he wanted to do wasn't even an option. It seemed like it wasn't even possible. So one thing that you could do is to look up people like Elon Musk, to look up stories, to look up movies like that are showing how a person who was not really, who didn't really receive a lot of approval, still managed to do what he set himself, what the goal that he set for himself, right? Read autobiographies and really think, what do you want for yourself, and how you want your life to be, and how you can achieve what you want to achieve. One important thing that I also want to note here is that basically, how do you know that now you have at least a frame that is at least dominant in your mind? Because if you have that dominant frame in your mind, you are gonna have not a positive self-talk, but you are gonna have the type of self-talk that is in alignment with your frame. Like, for example, if you set for you a goal for yourself, for example, to, I don't know, to achieve a certain goal, all of your self-talk and all of your conversations in your own mind should be in alignment with that goal. It shouldn't be obviously doubts. It should not be I don't know, just something negative. It should be in alignment with what you want to achieve. And another very important thing besides self-talk is your emotions. Like, right, your emotions should be in alignment. And when you have this correct self-talk, right? The self-talk that is the self-talk and emotions that are in alignment with what your frame is. That's when you know that your frame is, you have this dominant frame, at least in your own mind. And sometimes it's gonna take years, especially if you want to become like the best of the best, right? It's gonna take years and years and years to everyone to buy into your frame. Like for Elon Musk, it took, I don't even know how many years, but definitely more than a decade, more than 10 years, right? For not a decade. Wait, what is 10 years? Anyway, more than 10 years. For Elon Musk, it took more than 10 years, right? For Khabib, it took, I believe it probably took around 15-20 years, right, to really manifest that frame into the reality. So I'm not saying that it should take you like 10 or 20 years, right? But you really need to hold on to your frame for as long as you can. And if you're not gonna do that, then guess what? Everyone around you is gonna tell you what you're able to achieve, what you deserve to achieve, and everyone is basically gonna control your reality. Now, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Go to my channel, watch my other videos, and thank you so much for watching to this video till the end. I love you guys.